This Family Life News podcast is made possible by the support of listeners like you.
Next on the 5 o'clock report.
Enough is enough.
Maybe that interest rate on my credit card balance a little bit better.
We all know it's Christmas. Why are we trying to mess around about this?
In under an hour, they were able to get $6,000 worth of toys.
Now, let's go to the newsroom.
Good afternoon and welcome to the broadcast. I'm Family Life News anchor Sarah Harnish. We get another hug from early winter. Again, tonight there are winter storm warnings for Erie and Oswego County and advisories for another 24 counties in the Twin Tiers. Radar shows Buffalo to Erie to Scranton is wrapped in snow and ice, 3 inches for Auburn and 6 for Norwich. Troopers say that little bit of slush on the road can cause you to hydroplane and make for a dangerous drive home.
The 2 things you can't do are steer and you can't brake.
Captain Brian Newen says if you start to skid,
it's a lot easier for your vehicle to brake if you are in neutral. That'll help you come to a quicker and safer stop.
Kevin Williams has your full forecast in a few minutes. Australia just became the first country in the world to ban social media for kids 16 and under.
This is Australia showing enough is enough.
Australian Prime Minister Anthony Albanese.
Make no mistake, this reform will change lives for Australian kids and allowing them to just have their childhood. For Australian parents, enabling them to have greater peace of mind.
The ban impacts almost a dozen platforms, and if they don't comply, they could face massive fines, up to $33 million.
I think that this law will be extremely effective. The way that Australia has written this, they're really trying to put this on the platform, so it's not on individual parents.
Claire Morrill is author of The Tech Exit.
This law just makes it a non-issue. It provides a solution to this collective action problem for parents to say, now just kids under 16 won't be on social media. And it's not on the parents, it's on the platforms to enforce.
As expected, the Federal Reserve dropped the interest rate 1/4 point today. CBS's Jason Brooks.
Wall Street anticipated the 1/4 point cut down to 3.5 to 3.75%, the lowest range in 3 years. But the Fed's updated economic forecast also indicates that the Fed will only cut rates once in 2026 and one more time in 2027.
Business analyst Jill Schlesinger says it's a mixed bag.
Maybe that interest rate on my credit card balance a little bit better, a little bit easier for the new car loan. But for savers, not so good because you're earning less interest.
Healthcare changes are in the works in the U.S. House. Speaker Mike Johnson said today they're moving forward with a package that does not include Obamacare subsidies. U.S. Senator Marsha Blackburn says Obamacare is not sustainable.
We're saying, no, let's fix the problem. Obamacare is too expensive to afford. We all know why. It is all of the mandates. Should nuns have to buy maternity insurance? And the answer is no. Let's let people buy what they want at a price they can afford.
President Trump hosted a business meeting today at the White House with some of the most powerful CEOs in the country. He was flanked by the world's 11th richest man, Michael Dell, who talked about Trump accounts for 25 million American kids. He says there are millionaires and billionaires lined up to donate more.
I do believe there will be a number of other large gifts announced. I've already spoken with a few that will be announcing gifts at the state level. Right. And more to come.
Trump accounts are investments for American children whose parents make under $150,000 a year. A federal judge has ordered the Trump administration to stop deploying California National Guard troops in Los Angeles. Judge Charles Breyer ordered control of the troops to be returned to the state's governor. That deployment began back in June. Taking Christ out of Christmas, Portland, Oregon's Christmas tree lighting ceremony got a little colorful this week.
Free, free Palestine!
Then Philadelphia held its tree lighting ceremony, the city now calling it a holiday tree instead of a Christmas tree. Bill Maher weighed in last night saying some things are going a little too far, even for him.
A lot of people would say right now the Democratic Party is still in that mode, which is going to render them possibly an irrelevant party if they don't change. Get rid of the woke baggage.
Fox News correspondent Mary Catherine Ham.
That was supposed to be a celebration. Y'all are such a buzzkill, and voters are not cool with that. I think that's part of what Mar is referencing. And many people for years put up with, okay, we'll call it the holiday thing. They would make the trade-off and say, okay, live and let live. We're treating everyone equally. But then they wouldn't actually treat each holiday equally. They would erase Christmas.
Ham says people are not fooled.
To me, it's like spelling curse words in front of a teenager. Like, they can spell. They know what you're doing. We all know it's Christmas. Why are we trying to mess around about this? Like, let's just acknowledge it. It's simple. It's common sense. And I think most normal people are fine with it.
Still to come on the 5 o'clock report, GLP-1 for the poor, cannabis classes in New York, and the bell-to-bell school smartphone ban moves forward in PA. Those stories after weather.
Hi, I'm Kevin Williams, and here is your Family Life regional weather forecast. For tonight, early on, patches of rain and snow. Blustery colder overnight tonight through tomorrow with areas of lake snow and snow flurries along with blowing snow. Several inches of snow will accumulate through the period in the snowbelt areas east and southeast of Lake Erie and Lake Ontario. Little elsewhere. Low temperatures tonight, teens and low 20s, so any moist surfaces will refreeze that are left untreated and undisturbed. High temperatures tomorrow in the 20s.
Thank you, Kevin. Yeah, very slippery roads tonight. Be careful as you drive home. Checking the stories where you live in New York and Pennsylvania. The Keystone State just restricted weight loss drugs for Medicaid patients amid budget woes. The move was quietly announced by the Shapiro administration and will save the state hundreds of millions of dollars. Some 70,000 low-income patients are on GLP-1s on state taxpayer dollars. Pennsylvania spent $223 million on them in 2022, and 2 years later in 2024, $650 million. Opponents say GLP-1s prevent severe illness that could cost the state far more. New York Attorney General Tish James is being sued for threatening to remove school board members who question pro-transgender policies. This includes policies that permit biological boys in girls' sports. Critics say New York deserves an attorney general
who's a real prosecutor, who's focused on New York and focused on safety. Instead, what we have now is Letitia James, who's none of those things.
Former Assistant U.S. Attorney General Saritha Kumareddy is challenging James in next year's midterms. She argues the AG has lost focus of what her job is.
In the 6 years that Letitia James has been in office, crime in New York State is up 26%. Drug deaths are up 63%. That is what is unacceptable.
Tish James recently issued a guidance letter that warned removal of any school board member who uses the wrong pronoun for a trans person. She's also banning students from speaking out at school board meetings about their concerns with trans athletes using girls' bathrooms or locker rooms. The Pennsylvania Senate Education Committee has voted unanimously to enact a bell-to-bell smartphone ban in public schools. The measure now heads to the full Senate for consideration and would also need adoption in the state house before becoming law. The legislation mandates public schools adopt some form of a phone policy that bans the use of digital devices during the school day. Schools would have flexibility in how the ban is enforced. And beginning in January, Elmira College in New York's Southern Tier will offer online degrees to students pursuing careers in the legal cannabis industry. The school is partnering with a company called Green Flower. The program focuses on everything from cannabis cultivation to sales to careers in the medical marijuana industry. Next at 5, to save or not to save, a battle with Christmas stuff, decorations, mementos, traditions, and responsibility. What needs to stay and what needs to go? We speak with Christmas minimalist, Christian counselor Chris Anderson, and our own Mark Webster. Let's listen in.
Raise your hand out there in radio land if you've ever said, I just have to simplify it. I can't let this year be like last year, or in how many countless years before where we get caught up in just all the stuff. And like you just got done saying, Mark, we've got years of accumulated stuff, memories, but things that ultimately we have to figure out, okay, what am I going to do with all this stuff, you know?
Indeed. It's almost like that ball of snow going downhill. It can kind of,
absolutely.
As it goes on over the years, it just gets thicker and thicker. Let's dive in a little deeper here, talking about maybe the dynamics that lie behind the difficulty in, say, throwing things away, working to keep your mind focused where it ought to be this time of year.
Sure. And, that's what I said. It's not even necessarily just, throwing things away, but maybe giving things away too, or understand what this really means. You're not disposing of it or dishonoring the other person themselves, especially if they've passed away. These are items that maybe did belong to that person, but you are literally not throwing this person out, and you are not ceremonially saying you are no longer important to me by giving away some of these items.
Right.
You are recognizing that these are just material items, and perhaps for someone who came from a difficult background, this may be a harder task due to the fear of going without, or maybe one day needing a particular item, or something of that nature, or not wanting to go back to the days when you were just scraping by. So there are dynamics there that might be behind your difficulty in being able to part with certain things.
Yeah, you touch on a very pertinent topic this time of year. It's become known as Blue Christmas. Christmas, even though it's the season of light and joy, can be anything but that for folks who are dealing with loss, and not even necessarily recent loss.
Yeah, absolutely. And you said earlier, too, Mark, in the intro, that we've got these memories, and so a lot of times we look back and, when was the last time you've had a conversation where you have kind of reminisced with loved ones about the quote-unquote good old days when things were good? But I think at least part of that, too, is we're putting too much emphasis on our expectations. How do you keep in control of this process instead of allowing these unfair or unrealistic expectations and your material possessions to actually control you?
So what are some good ways to attack that if it's an issue?
Well, understanding, again, like we just said, what the dynamics are behind maybe the difficulty you have in doing this is the first step. The second thing is to really look at this as a task that if you do make the effort to deal with it right now, it's going to free up a lot of mental space, if you will, later on, and make future, not only holidays, but moments of times with your family actually be a little more meaningful.
You can subscribe, listen to, and share Real Answers in all of Family Life's original podcasts at Apple Podcasts, Spotify, YouTube, or at familylife.org.
Is planning for your financial future just a big guessing game? Hi, I'm Rob West with a Faith and Finance Minute. It can feel that way, especially when you're young. You can't predict your career path, income, or what life will look like decades from now. Even later in life, uncertainties remain: market returns, tax changes, and health costs. But don't let the unknowns keep you from acting wisely today. Start by living within your means, pay off debt, and build an emergency fund. Invest consistently, even in small amounts, to prepare for the future. And don't overlook your health. Caring for your body well is an essential part of stewardship. You can't control everything, but you can be faithful with what you know now. Plan diligently, trust God with the rest, and you'll be prepared for whatever the future brings. Discover the best Christian financial articles, podcasts, and videos by visiting our website, faithfi.com, or by downloading FaithFi, Faith and Finance from your app store.
Coming up on the 5 o'clock report, toys for tots shopping like you have never seen it before with the Penn State football team. That story after weather.
Hi, I'm Kevin Williams, and here is your Family Life regional weather forecast. The disturbance that brought snow and some rain today is moving away tonight. In its wake, another polar punch will be landed with falling temperatures and some lake effect snow. Our call, it looks like this. For tonight, early on, patches of rain and snow. Blustery colder overnight tonight through tomorrow with areas of lake snow and snow flurries along with blowing snow. Several inches of snow will accumulate through the period in the snowbelt areas east and southeast of Lake Erie and Lake Ontario, little elsewhere. Low temperatures tonight, teens and low 20s, so any moist surfaces will refreeze that are left untreated and undisturbed. High temperatures tomorrow in the 20s. Friday, variable clouds and sun with some localized lake snow and flurries, and high temperatures in the 20s and lower 30s.
All right, thank you, Kevin. Finally, at 5, a bunch of Penn State football players joined the U.S. Marines in a Toys for Tots shopping spree Monday night.
Yeah! Got the muscle, you had the organization. Oh, good pick. Great pick.
Yeah, all the kids like Hot Wheels.
Shelves clear out fast when Division I football players are on task.
They got the shopping done in no time tonight. In under an hour, they were able to get $6,000 worth of toys.
This was the second year Penn State football helped out the Toys for Tots holiday shopping spree hosted by West Shore Home. This Christmas, they'll be able to send gifts to 65,000 children in central Pennsylvania.
It hurts my heart. Some kids not able to have that that, so I wanted to do the best I could to give that to those kids out there. I know what that feels like, not being able to get something. Just giving back just feels amazing.
Monday was a reflection of how a small deed can go a long way this Christmas season. The football players left a note for the kids.
For the kids out there, keep your spirits high and don't be on the naughty list.
And that's the world that we live in for Wednesday, the 10th of December. I'm Sarah Harnish, and this is the 5 o'clock report on Family Life.
Thank you for listening to this Family Life News podcast. If you've been encouraged by what you've heard, please share it with others and click the subscribe button to automatically receive future episodes. Family Life is a listener-supported ministry. Podcasts like this are made possible by your financial partnership. Find out more at familylife.org.